All right, everybody, welcome to our Volusion broadcast today. So, over the course of time, I tend to get a lot of the same types of questions that come up as it relates to Volusion, and every once in a while, I'll do kind of like an FAQ during our Volusion trainings each week. So today's going to be one of those days. I have a list of questions that you can see here on the screen that we're going to go through and answer. I'm happy to answer others if they come in here live. So you guys who are here with me live are welcome to ask a few other questions. These aren't going to be technical related questions for the most part. They're going to be a bit more high level about Volusion in general, so you can understand why we use it, how we use it, the hosting, how domains get connected, so on and so forth. So we got a lot of general type questions that we're going to get answered. Okay, so let's just dig right in without any further ado. Let's go to number one here. Number one is, how much is my hosting fee? Don't I get a few months for free? Now the answer is, with what we've got set up with Volusion, the hosting fee for our clients is $40 a month. I think it ends up being like $39.99 or $39.95 a month for hosting. So that's what you would see on your invoice or your credit card statement, whatever you're paying hosting with. So that's how much it costs to have hosting and to have a Volusion store. It could cost more in the future if your store gets really, really big and takes up a lot of space, but let's just understand really quick what hosting is. That $39.95 a month is what keeps your website on the internet. All of the files that make up a website, your pictures and your different web pages that are created, and videos and products and everything else that gets added onto one of these websites, takes up space. The way I always compare it, so that my clients understand it a bit better, if you're not familiar with the hosting space, is it's a bit like having a computer and trying to operate a computer without a hard drive, right? It'd be really hard to do, because if your computer didn't have a hard drive, you couldn't save anything to it. You couldn't save any software programs or images or videos, pictures from your phone, whatever, right? A computer has to have a hard drive. In the same way, a website has to have a host. If you don't have a host, your website doesn't show up anywhere. So that's that $39.95 a month. That's what that is paying for. And in addition to that, it's paying for the use of your Volusion software. So their software is pretty proprietary. It's very unique. There's other softwares that are similar to Volusion out there, but theirs is proprietary, and there's a cost to using it. So that's what that hosting fee would go to. Now, to the second part of that question, don't I get a few months for free? Yes, everybody in our program will get 2 months of prepaid hosting, meaning our company actually pays that hosting fee for you for the first couple of months. Check your contract, but it's likely you could have more than that. I've seen some of my clients come in with up to 12 months for free, if that was in your original contract, but most of you will get at least 2. So we have you guys put a card on file into our support department, 877-867-8239. That's where you call to set up your Volusion account. Whatever card you put on file, that's what they will charge you with when your free hosting time stops. Now, that free hosting starts the minute you set up your Volusion. So I want to be clear on that. It's not when you launch your website. It's the minute you start getting access to your Volusion account. And guys, that's because the minute you start working on and building your site, that's the same minute you're saving files and using hosting and server space. So as a result, hosting starts then, not when you launch your site. I want to make sure that's clear, okay? Number 2, how long do I have to pay hosting? That's a question that comes up every once in a while, and the answer is as long as you want to keep a website on the internet. So that $39.95 fee is going to pay for hosting on a regular monthly basis for as long as you keep your website. And you might think, well, that's too bad. I don't want to pay a monthly fee for a website. I understand that, but you got to remember that everybody does. Anybody who's got a legit website has some sort of hosting expense. And in the grand scheme of things, $39.95 a month for hosting on one of these e-com sites is actually not a bad deal. So you'll pay that forever and ever until you decide that that you want to stop. Number 3, why do I pay for hosting? I thought I already paid for web design. So some of you guys will pay our team here at the start or maybe later once you get into the program for some web design services. And that could come at a large price depending on what kind of web design you get done. Hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right? So some of you guys will ask me, well, wait a minute, I paid a big lump sum for this website and for web design. Why am I still paying for hosting? Well, I mean, I'll leave that to what I said earlier. Everybody still pays for hosting. Whether you're building your site or you're having our team build it for you, hosting still has to get paid. So that's always going to be a separate expense. If you paid a large sum for web design, that's paying for logo development and website setup and homepage design and graphic design and everything that goes along with designing a site. That's not paying for hosting, okay? And by the way, guys, if any of this is unclear, feel free to ask. I'd love to clarify anything that needs clarifying. Okay, next thing, number 4, why is hosting so expensive? Now, we just said $39.95 a month for hosting isn't actually that expensive in the grand scheme of things, but some of you guys feel like it is because you've seen offers out there online from companies that say something like, hosting is, $1.99 a month. See if some of these companies, if you go to any of these host companies, I'll show you one right here. This is HostGator. Let's see if they say anything about their hosting. Yeah, right here. From HostGator, it says WordPress hosting, $5.95 a month, right? Or let's try these guys, Bluehost. Bluehost says right here, you guys should be able to see this. The best web hosting starting at $3.95 a month. And some of you guys have seen this cheap hosting advertised all over the internet. And so when the time comes to pay Volusion hosting and you're paying, 10 times that, right? You're thinking, why am I doing that? Why am I not just doing my hosting through GoDaddy or Bluehost or HostGator or whomever? And the answer is because that's comparing apples to oranges. Okay, that's the difference between those hosting accounts. One is like driving a Ford Taurus and another one is like driving a Bentley, right? They do the same thing. It's hosting, but the Volusion hosting, you're paying a lot more for it because you're using their very well done proprietary software that's developed for and specifically dropship sites, e-commerce websites. The hosting's not even comparable. You're getting better hosting with Volusion if your end goal is an e-commerce site. So it's not the same. And likely, if you got one of those cheap hosting plans, you would have to set up several other additional fees to get a good shopping cart in and to add some e-commerce features in, and you would be paying much more than that $3.95. That's such a base level. So I just want you guys to understand that's the difference. You may think Volusion is quite a bit more expensive, but it's not for what you're getting, not for what you're using it for. That cheap hosting is usually used for informational sites, affiliate sites, WordPress sites, and they're not nearly as involved as what we're talking about here. Okay, so that should answer why it's so quote unquote expensive. Number 5, why do I have to register a domain name when I already have Volusion? Or does Volusion register my domain name for me? Well, remember, Volusion is just the software. That's just the tools in your hands and the hosting to build the site. You always still have to go out and register a name for the site. Volusion will give you a temporary URL, but most of you guys are going to want a custom-made, really nice .com that represents your business, right? The petstore.com or shopdecor.com or something that represents your niche and your business. So usually you register a domain name not through Volusion, but you go through like a GoDaddy or a 1&1 or a HostGator or a Bluehost. You can go register your domain name somewhere else. There's a million different places out there you can do that. And then your coach will help you connect that domain to your new Volusion site. Okay. Number 6, what are my total costs with my website? or what kind of cost should I expect? I get this question a lot because I think some of you guys are a little gun shy. At the point you're starting your website, you're thinking, I'm bleeding money, right? I've invested a lot already for this program. Is this website going to cost me a lot more? Let me just run down some of the costs of a website, okay? So first of all, you've got a domain name, which we just talked about. Domain names aren't too expensive, and they're usually a yearly fee, so you could get a good domain name for, $10 a year or whatever, 10, 15 bucks a year. So that's not expensive. It's a yearly fee. It's, a little over $1 a month if you look at it that way. Hosting is another expense, right? We've talked about hosting. $39.95 a month. So that's probably your biggest ongoing website fee. But we talked about that. So that's another one. If you decide to get a merchant account to process credit cards on your site, that can be a monthly expense of 15, 20 bucks a month, sometimes more. A lot of my clients will avoid that by doing PayPal as their merchant, which will cost you nothing per month when you first start. So that's an optional expense. It's not something you have to do. Web design is a concern. Some of my clients will pay for web design, and web design can range from $1,000 to $4,000, right, or more. If you have a professional designer set up and design your site, I think it's a good option to do if you can afford it. But if you can't, you don't have to pay a big upfront fee. You could work with your coach and do it yourself, so that doesn't necessarily have to cost you anything. And then the last cost that you should probably be aware of is any potential marketing expense going forward. Once you've got this beautifully done site with these great products that you've added and you're ready to do business, you have to ask yourself, how am I going to get people to find this thing? What are my options there? Well, there's paid ads on Facebook, there's paid ads on Google, Yahoo, Bing. There's lots of paid marketing opportunities out there. You could pay for the advertising, or you can have our coaching team teach you how to get traffic for free, which we're very capable of doing and will do and can do as part of your coaching plan that you set up with us. So if you don't want to spend money on marketing, you don't have to necessarily. So like its raw, simplest setup, you've got a domain name for 10 to 15 bucks a year, and then hosting for 40 bucks a month. That's it. The rest you can keep cheap. But there's options to invest more and to spend more, and you can do that if you want. I want you to consult with your coach to see what's best for you, okay? It doesn't have to be a money hole to set up a website and to start one. Number 7, how long does it take to build a website if I'm a first timer? So if you're going to be the one doing the site and designing it, the answer is I don't know. It's going to depend a little bit on you and your skill set. Are you comfortable online? Or are you a fast typer? Can you copy and paste okay? Are you proficient on downloading images and loading them up into a website? Have you done any graphic design before? I mean, these are questions you got to ask yourself. But in general, I mean, I don't know. I get asked all the time, well, what's the average amount of time if a client does a website, by themselves with the help of a coach? And it's just so hard to say. I mean, I've seen clients get websites up within a week and a half. And then I've seen some clients take 2 or 3 months to really get one up. And that's probably the range. I know that's a big range, but it just depends a little bit on you and the time you put into it and what going into it. Luckily, you don't have to know any code or anything. You can, just be a normal internet user that uses email and surfs the net, and you can get a website up without, any advanced skill set. So I don't know, anywhere from a week or two to a few months. That's the average, and everything in between, and a few outliers too. So I don't know how to answer that real well. If you'll work with your coach on it and they can kind of watch you work on it, they can probably give you a little bit more feedback as time goes by. Number 8, should I pay somebody to build my site for me? In other words, should I pay somebody rather than me doing the web design and the graphic work and the sliders and the homepage and the logo and everything else that goes along with it? Should I just pay somebody to do it first? And if so, how much does it cost and how do I get that started? So the answer is it's up to you. I always recommend using a professional designer. We have them in-house here. And so if you're interested in that, talk to your coach about it. I think it gets done better. I think it gets done quicker. I think a lot of you guys have kind of an idea of what you want to create, but have a hard time actually doing it from a design standpoint. Designers know how to work with colors and color schemes and with logos and branding. So, yeah, I mean, if you can, in a perfect world, if all of our clients could afford it, I would say always pay somebody to design and set up your site. Leave it to the professionals. But I know not a lot of you have that budget. And I mentioned earlier, I mean, that can cost a few $1,000s for sure. So if that's of interest to you, um, talk to your coach about it, and they can talk to you about whether or not that's going to be a good opportunity or a good option for you. So that answers the question as to how to. Like, if you want to discuss that with one of our design reps, you can, and we can get that set up. But you should expect. I mean, I'll just tell you up front, it's not going to be cheap. It'd be a few $1,000s for sure. And if you're looking at me like, no, that's crazy, I can't afford that right now, there's no way. We'll work with you on getting it up and going. You don't have to pay to get it designed. Like, we can work with you on setting it up and designing it. And yes, it'll take longer for sure. There's more of a learning curve there, and that's fine. We're happy to do that. We don't want to put pressure on you guys to spend more if you don't feel like you can do it. Number 9, why does, and then this is in quotes, content builder has been disabled for this page. Why does that show up on my site? This is what I assume is being asked. So here's a site right here. This is a Volusion site. If I go to my account, I log in, sometimes you guys will see this come up. Now, I've answered this, or I brought this up in other trainings before, but sometimes that causes you guys to think that you're not logged in or something's wrong with your website. The only reason that comes up on your site is you must be on a page where this thing called the content builder is disabled. Well, the content builder for Volusion only works on certain types of pages, namely some of your info pages as well as your home page. So if that comes up, don't let that bother you. That just means that you're on a page where that doesn't work. See, if I were on my home page here, the content builder would be enabled, and this is what the content builder looks like. So again, I just want to make this really clear. If you're seeing content builder has been disabled, that doesn't mean anything. That's fine. Go up here to the 3 white dots and go to your dashboard anyway. It's just something that comes up on certain types of pages. Okay. Number 10, I can't log into my site. What now? What do I do if I can't log into my site? Well, email our support department, support@ementormail.com, or call them at 877-867-8239, and they can fix your login. I believe the coaches can do that too, but we prefer you to go directly to our support department. Number 11, how many products should I add to my site before I launch? Generally, we recommend somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150. It'll depend a little on your niche, but you want to have a website that's relatively full of products, doesn't look brand new before you launch the site, for number 11. Number 12, how do I launch my website? So I get a lot of questions on this where clients say, well, I think I'm ready to launch. Hey, Trevor, do you do that for me? Like, is there a button that I push? Well, there's really not. When you launch your site, all that means is you're ready to get into the marketing portion of the program. So as long as your domain name is connected, you've got your products on the site, you've run a test order, your info pages are done, if those things have been completed, your sales tax set up, and a few other little items, you are launched. There's not a particular button you push. There's not something magical that happens when you launch. It just means you're ready to get into marketing. And ultimately, marketing is what's going to cause you to get visibility and get found online. So that's number 12. How do I launch? Number 13, my login for my.volusion.com doesn't work. Why? Some of you guys, when you get into your website, let me bring this site up again. You'll come over here and you'll go up to this menu with the 3 dots and you'll come down here to My Volusion. Okay, so if I click on My Volusion, you're probably meaning to go to your dashboard. That's where you should be going. But some of you go to My Volusion and then it brings up this login. Well, guys, our company manages your my.volusion. You guys don't, because we manage all of our websites in one my.volusion profile. So you guys won't have a login for this, nor do you need a login for this. The only thing you should be worried about getting to from here is your dashboard. So my Volusion isn't something you've got a login for, nor do you need a login for that. Okay, hope that's clear. Next thing is number 14, and this will be kind of the last question I answer today for the frequently asked questions about Volusion. I'm not getting enough help on my Volusion or with my website. This is you guys talking. I'm not getting enough help. What resources are available to me? There's a lot available to you. First of all, if you're not feeling like you're getting enough help, please contact your coach first. Your coach is responsible for you. They care the most. In fact, this may be news to some of you, maybe not, but your coach is often compensated based on your success. So they're going to have the most interest in making sure that you do well with this. So if you don't feel like you're getting enough help, talk to your coach about it, number one. Number two, if your coach isn't available and you need some help, call our support staff, 877-867-8239, and ask for a coach that's available on call that can answer some questions about Volusion. We're happy to do that. Additionally, we do live trainings throughout the week, and this one that we're doing today is about Volusion. Start attending the live trainings when you can, and get some I say one-on-one help, but group help, because there's usually a group of you here. Get some help there. You can email your coach. You can use our recorded live trainings that we've done, or our recorded trainings, I should say, that we've done that give you help on Volusion. We will give you plenty of help. That's part of what you paid us to do when you got into the coaching program. So please, if you don't feel like you're getting enough help, number one is contact your coach, and they'll be concerned about that. They'll want to make sure you do get the help you deserve. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I'm missing anything on my list. I don't think that I am. I think we're good to go. Guys, I hope this was helpful to you today. I know there's probably other questions that we've got and that we could cover here, but I felt like as of late, these were some of the main ones. I hope that was helpful to you. Let us know if you have any other questions, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for being here.